Good evening, guys. I hope it is visible. So, even today we are continuing with analytical, ne? So, today we will also be continuing with analytical. So, yeah, welcome the guys, Sfiso and the others, Kifilwe. Eish, other names are difficult for me to pronounce, guys. Eish. And the Movanda, so hey, the other languages they're a bit difficult. So evening guys. Evening. Okay, let me just do so that you can be able to see. So I'm still continuing with the analytical, and then I hope as time goes on, I'll be able to change to a different topic. But for now, I'm still doing analytical. So maybe towards the end of the lesson, I'll allow you guys to maybe a request, and then maybe ask the questions which you might be having, and then yeah, we can just all help each other. Welcome Michelle, Tess, welcome, user 337, Kwezi, no, then the girl, yeah, welcome guys. So before I start, let me just open a question paper. So the things which I normally do here, ne? So you'd find that I do all the grades. So from grade 10, 11, and 12. Sorry. I'm sure the people who are writing, are you rewriting for when you're saying that you're writing on Friday? There, it's just that it's a bit difficult for me to pronounce your name there. Yeah, the ones for paper one, I think I did them weeks back. I think 2 weeks or 3 weeks back. So I was doing revision for 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 paper one. I'm sorry about that one. I am sorry. And then maybe let me start. So I'm sure I will start with the easiest things and then go up to the things which are more maybe I cannot say that difficult. They're just challenging. So maybe the thing which I'm having here is I think it's question 2. Question 2. Now it's saying something like this. You have this is a dotted line, and then you've got something like this, and then this is B here, and then this is I think -2, and then a 5, and then you've got an A here, and then you've got -4, -3. Then here you've got a D, and then here you've got a C, and then C, it's saying it's a 2 and a P. So now the first question here, the information is just saying that you have a Cartesian plane, you have been given these points B, A, together with what? Together with C. So C here, it's just a 2 and a what? A 2 and a P. So now, they are saying determine the length of what? Determine the length of AB. Like I said, I'll start with think these are things which are asked more in grade 10, so it's not that difficult that much. So they said length of what, then we'll go up to grade 11 and then grade 12. Then they're saying the length of what, the length of AB. So now determining the length of AB here, you'll just have to use the distance formula. So using your distance formula just means you'll just have AB is equals to the square root of, this will just say x at B minus x at A squared, and then plus this is y at B minus y at A, and then this is squared. So after getting this, now let's just replace the values which we are having, and then here it means this is plus here and this is this. So here you'll just have what, minus 2 and then minus a minus 4, and then you'll have a 5 minus a minus 3. This is squared. And then here you will just have what, where's my calculator? So here you'll just have square root of 2. This is squared here. So 2 plus negative 2 plus a 4, and then it is supposed to be squared here. Squared, and then plus 5 plus a 3, and then squared. Here you will just have 2 root what, root 17, and then this is what, this is your answer. And then now they say determine the gradient of AB. So now determining the gradient, this is 4.2. They said what, gradient of determine the gradient of AB. So determining the gradient of AB, we just have to say what, gradient AB will just say y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is just going to be 5 minus a minus 3, and then all divided by minus 2 minus a minus 4. This is going to give you 5 plus a 3 divided by minus 2 plus a 4. This will just give you a 4 here. So it means the gradient of what, of AB is a 4. Now they say coordinates of M, the midpoint of AB. So they're saying meaning M is somewhere, what, M is somewhere here. They're saying it's the midpoint. So I'll just write 4.3 here. So M will just be x at M is equals to x at A plus x at B divided by 2, and then it will just say minus 4, and then plus a minus 2 all divided by 2. So how much do you have? This minus 6, this will just be minus 3 here. And then your y part will just be y M at M is equals to y at A plus y at B divided by 2. And then this will just be what? 5 minus plus a minus 3 divided by 2. Then your answer will just be 5 minus 3 is just a 2, and then 2 divided by 2 will just give you a 1. So it means the coordinates of M will just be a minus 3 and a 1, which makes what? Which makes sense. Then now they say calculate what? Seeing that the space is full here, I don't know if you guys have got any questions before I wrap this. I am not seeing any question. I am not seeing any question. So now let's wrap. So now they're saying the value of P if line OC is parallel to AB. They're saying what? Value of OP. No, the value of P, not the value of OP. The value of P if what? If a line OC is parallel to AB. It's parallel to AB, where O is the origin. Where O is the origin. So now, if you have to check, C is just what? Is just a 2 and a P. So if this is a 2 and a P, and then you are told that, okay, this is O, the origin, and then this line is parallel to that one, it just means, okay, parallel lines have got equal what? Gradients, and then lines which maybe they are perpendicular to each other just means they are gradients. When you multiply them together, they give you a -1. But in this case, it means the gradient of AB will be equal to the gradient of, in this case, it's OP. So you will just have what? I think previously we got that the gradient of AB was just what? Was just a 4. So now if they're to say, let's determine what? The value of P. So now we already know the gradient. So it means on your equation, which normally says mx plus c, you already know what? You already know what is this? You already know m. So m, it will just be what? M is just let's check, it's just a 4, so it's 4x plus a c, and then y is like this. Because this here, it's coming from the origin, this graph is coming from what? From the origin. We can use the coordinates which say 0 is to 0, because here I'm seeing we are not given any other what coordinates other than P, which is what? Other than C, which is just 2 and a P. And if we were to insert, what do you call this thing? If we were to insert these 2 and a P here, you'll still be having an unknown. So in this case, just use the what? The coordinates of the origin. Why? Because of what they wrote here. O is the origin. So you just say O, and then it's equals to, and then 4, where there is x, you also place a 0, and then plus c. So this just tells you that also what? C is equals to a 0, which makes sense because this line is passing through what? The origin. So it means your equation will just say y is equals to 4x, and then, yeah, this will just be the equation of this line. It will just be y equals to 4x. Now the value of P will just be, insert these coordinates there. So x is what? X is just a 2, and then where there is y is a P is equals to 4 into a 2 here. So this just tells you that P is just what? Is just an 8. So here it means you will have C, which is 2 and an 8. So that's it. So this is how you're supposed to solve what? So you're supposed to solve an equation once you get it. So the things which I just did here, these are the things which you'll normally get in a grade 10 question paper, because they more like ask you something which is straightforward. So now I'll do maybe something which is more pronounced now. Let's say, let me check also if you do have questions before I proceed from this. Or to Green Lady, this is pure maths. I to this Destiny, I bought it I think at Macro. I bought the whiteboard at Macro. Can't still remember how much was it, but I'm sure it's 1,000 something. And then I am not seeing any question. So me not seeing any question. Yes, I do to Sunday. Just go to the to my bio there, and then you'll get my numbers, and then you can just join what. You can just send me a text, and then I will add you. If not, I think also the link is there. So let me move past this. So moving past this, né? There is this question. Let me check what question is it. What question number is it? This is question 3. This is basically what you mostly get in grade 12 or grade 11. They gave us a diagram like this. And then they say, yeah, I think I drew this thing very quickly or too soon. Okay, let me just do this so that at least you can see what is here. Okay, this is X here. And then what is here? It's 9 and minus 2 here. And then you've got a C here, which is just 8 and a Y. And then this here, it's a B. And then this is, here is an A. A is what? It's X and then 6 here. And then here is just a D, which is just minus 4 and a 2. And then this is just theta. And then here you've got I think this thing I drew it in a wrong way. Sorry, I think I drew it in a wrong way. This, okay, let me start by this. And then here I am having something like this, I think. Yeah. I'm having something like this, and then it goes here. Yeah, and then it goes up. Then it's something like this, and then you have something like that, and then here you'll have your angle theta. Yeah, this is C here. 8 and what? This is 8 and a Y. This here you'll have a B here, which is 9 and a minus 2 here. and then here you're having an A, which is just x and a 6, and then here you are having a D is just minus 4 and a 2. So yeah, you are having something like that. So you having something like that now, it just means, just pardon my drawing here, né? But it's something like a rectangle. It's more like this. And then the first question, or actually they say this is A, B, C, D. It's a what? It's a parallelogram. So let me write here, given. And then you've got A, B, C, D, parallelogram. So you've got what? You've got a parallelogram, which is just made out of these 4 points. So after that, now the first question says, this is question 3.1. It says calculate the coordinates of M. Calculate what? Coordinates of M. M is here. M is here. Calculate M. Coordinates. Coordinates of M. The midpoint. The midpoint of BD. So just look at where BD is. You've got what? B is here. And also D is what? D is here. So because we already know that M is the midpoint of what? Of BD. We'll just say what? X at M is equals to X at D plus X at what? At B. Which means here divided by 2. And then this will just say, what do we have here? We have minus 4 and then plus a 9 all divided by 2. So now it just means you'll just have minus 4. It will just give you 5 over a 2. So this is what? This is the thing. And then let's come to the values of y to be this. And then it will say y at D plus y at B divided by 2. So here it just means what is y at D? It's just a 2, and then plus what is y at what? Here it's a minus 2 here. So it will just say minus what? Minus 2. So you just have something like this, which will just give you 2, and then this will just give you what? This will be more like a 0. A 0. So it means the coordinates of M here is just 5 over a 2 and a 0. So the values which you get, guys, they have to make sense. So here it makes sense to get a positive X value and a 0 value of what? Of Y. Just because here it's the X intercept here. The M is actually on the what? On the axis of X. So that's why I'm getting what? 5 over 2 and a 0 value of what? Of Y. So that's the thing. And then now they said hence. If you get a statement which says hence, it just means from what you're coming from doing. From what you're coming from doing, they're saying otherwise show that X is equals to minus 3 units. Okay, they're saying show that here this value here of X is minus 3, and also the value here of Y here, it's what? It's minus what? Minus 6. So please keep in mind of this. So here you've got 3.2. They say show that X is equals to minus 3 and y is equals to minus a 6. So if this is a thing, and then they said hence, because it said hence, so if it says this word here, it just means from what you're coming from doing in 3.0, 3.1. In 3.1, we are coming from calculating the value of m. So from calculating the value of m, this is just also telling us that m is the what? Is the midpoint of what? Of AC. So if it's the midpoint of AC, it just means I'll say x at m is equals to x at A plus x at C divided by 2. And then the y part will say y at m is equals to y at A plus y at C divided by 2. So in this case, it just means, let's start here. What did you get as your value of y here for m? You found it as 5 over a 2. So finding it as 5 over a 2, let's check for a. For a, we don't know. It's just an x. Plus, what do we have for c here? The value of c, of x at c, is just an 8. Where am I writing x here? It's just an 8 divided by 2. So in this case, say 5 over 2 multiplied by 2, you just get a 5. And then minus this 8 coming this side is equals to x. So 5 minus what? 5 minus an 8, it will just give you what? X is equals to minus a 3. And then it means you have proven that x is equals to what? X is equals to minus 3. And then let's come this side here. So coming this side here, it means here, what are you having? You are having y at m. What is y at m? Y at m is just a 0. So what is y at a? Y at a is just a 6. And then plus, what is y at c? It's just a y divided by a 2. So in this case, it just means your y will just be what? Take what? Take 2 multiplied by 0 is just a 0. Take the 6 to the other side, you just be left with minus a 6. And then you're done. And then you have proven that, what do you call this thing? Y here is equals to a negative what? A negative 6. And then you're done. So maybe before I move past that, I'm seeing that there's no space for me to do another question there. So let me check if you've got any questions. How did you get 5 over 2? I don't understand that part. For 5 over 2, we got it from from question 3.1. We got it by saying what? We got it by saying, what do you call this thing? M is the midpoint of B what? Of BD. So it means it will say x at what? X at M is equals to x at D plus x at B divided by 2. So it will say what? It will say minus what? Here it will say x at D minus 4 at B plus a 9 here divided by 2. So it is just 9 plus negative 4 to be a 5 over 2. So that's where we got the what? That's where we got the 5 over 2. I'm sure maybe you understood now. Nkosi 915. And then, so yeah, that's the thing. And then thank you to Ntwe, to NTWE. And then let me wrap this. This is minus 6 here. So keep in mind, yeah. Minus 6. And then let's move past that. So now the next question says calculate the gradient of BC. Okay, this is 3.3. They say calculate what? Calculate the gradient of, calculate the gradient of BC. So now, calculating the gradient of BC, let's check. BC is just this now. So it just means it will say gradient B what BC is equals to this will say -2 and then minus a -6. This is a -6 divided by this is a 9 and then minus an 8. So it means here 2 plus a 6, it will just give you a 4 here on top, divided by 9 minus 8 just be a 1. So it just means here we just have a 4. I think, yeah, that's fine. -2 plus a 6 would give you a 4, and then a 9 minus an 8 will give you a 1. Yeah, that's correct. And then let's move past that and then go to the next question. The next question says 3.4. 3.4 says calculate the gradient of BD. Oh, BD. Okay. Gradient of what? Gradient of BD. So now the gradient of BD, let's go check it out. Where is it? This is B and then D. So now it will just be what? At BD is equals to this will be -2 BD, -2 and then minus a 2 divided by a 9 minus 4. This you'll have -4 divided by 9 plus this will give you 9 plus a 4, it will give you a 13. So this is the gradient. So now let's go to 3.5. Going to 3.5, 3.5 says hence show that ADC is not a right angled triangle. I said hence show that triangle triangle DBC is not a right angled triangle. A right angled triangle. So if they're saying that show that triangle DBC, look at where DBC is. So here there is a word which they gave us here, which says what? Hence. And then I told you that if they say hence, it just means from what you're coming from doing. Now look at what you're coming from doing. You're coming from saying that the gradient of BD is what? Is negative what? -4 over a 13, and then the gradient of BC is just what? A 4. So now this means that you can say gradient of what? Gradient of BC multiplied by gradient of what? Gradient of DB. Now make sure that all these letters which are here, you do have them here, because like if you have to check here, you've got DB and then here you've got BC, so it means all the letters are there. So now the gradients will just say what? Of BC is just a 4 multiplied by minus 4 over a 13. So if you have to check here, these two things, when you multiply them together, they'll give you -16 over a 13. And then this whole thing here, it's not equals to 1. So you'll say this is not equals to 1. It's not equals to -1. So if the gradient of BC multiplied by DB is not equals to -1. So this just shows you that this triangle which they are talking about is not a right angled triangle, because their lines are not what? Are not perpendicular to each other. Their product is not giving us a -1. So that's the thing. So moving past that, let me check if you do have questions. Okay, 2000. I think I posted about some videos showing you the where I get question papers. So just check the what do you call this? Check my videos there. You'll see I posted links on where you can get question papers. Because here I try to just explain things to people. Angle of inclination. And then VVM, angle of inclination. What do you mean by angle of inclination? I haven't received a question like that, or I haven't seen one like that. So I'm still waiting. And then for functions, I think I'll do functions as time goes on. I'm sure because you're going to be writing soon. So in a certain session, I'll do functions. Now for 3.6, they say calculate the equation of AB. I think here I can rub this most. Here I got, there are things which I need to keep here. Gradient of A, no, gradient of BD. I got what? -4/13. And then the one for BC, I got a 4. And then, yeah, I got a 4. It's just one of the things which I need to keep. Okay. Now, let's check now. Let me check the next question. The next question is saying calculate the equation of AB. Calculate the equation. Calculate the equation of AB. Calculate the equation of AB in the form y is equals to mx plus c. Okay, if they're to say calculate the equation of AB in the form yx, this, you just say this, guys. You say gradient of AB is equals to this. Look at A and also B. So now this just means you will have -2 and then minus a 6 divided by a 9 minus a -3 here. So this thing will say -6 here, 6, all divided by 9 minus a 3 actually is a plus now, a 12 here, yeah, a 12, which will just give you what, 6. This will just say -1 over a 2. So now we can just use that and say you'll say y is equals to -1 over a 2x plus c. We can use either the coordinates of this a or b. So let's use the one for a. For a, you're just having a y, which is a 6, is equals to -1 over a 2. And then where there is an x, just place a -3, then plus a c. So now let's take everything to the right or left, it's fine. Just to make c the subject of the formula, it means now you'll have 6. this is plus, it means it's say minus 3 over a 2. So it means C, I do have a calculator here, 6 minus 3 over a 2. This will just give us 9 over a 2. So it means our equation is just y is equals to negative 1 over a 2 and then x and then plus 9 over a 2. So yeah, this is y of AB, or the equation of AB is just negative 1 over a 2 and then x plus 9 over a 2. And then that's it. And then they say determine the value of, okay, determine the, yeah, this one will require a lot of space, this one. Actually, let me ask if you do have any questions for regarding this before I pass. Y, BC, and DB. BC, 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 BC. Oh, for us to be able to, okay, I used BC and DB just because it's easier in that way, because I'd already calculated for their, what do you call this thing, for their gradients. So that's the reason I used what, BC and what, and DB. But you can also use what, let's say DC and what, DC and BC. And here you wrote DB, so you can use DC and also what, you can also use DC and also BC and calculate and see if you get what, and multiply the gradients. So if you get negative 1, it means they are what, they are what, those things are perpendicular to each other, so it's a 90 degree. That was on the previous question. Yeah, I'm answering that for you. Who's this? Kamugelo. Yeah, I'm answering that we can use DC multiplied by BC, the gradient there, to test whether the triangle is what, is a right angled triangle. We can also use that. It's just that as for me, I used DB and BC just because I'd already calculated the gradients for those things. That's the reason. I hope maybe now you understood what I said. So, now they're saying determine the value of what? Determine the value of determine the value of what is this? Of angle D, A, and then B. This is D, A, no, D, A, B. Okay. Here, let me check if I didn't lose anything. Yeah. Let's say this here, this is alpha here. It doesn't matter whether they've given you this angle here or they've not given you. I was still going to do it the same way. Né? Because why am I saying the same way? Is because you need to determine the gradient of what? Of AB, and then determine the angle of inclination. And then after determining the angle of inclination, you then determine what is this value here, because the angle of inclination, guys, it's something like this. So you can have, maybe let's say this is beta, and then this is alpha. Okay, let's say this is theta. So between these two things, the angle of inclination is this one. Is the angle which the, what do you call this thing? It's made anti-clockwise, the x axis. So it's going to be this one. So in this case, I am having this. I'll draw this thing piece by piece. Now you are having something like this. You are having angle, not angle. You are having line. This is B here, and then this is A here. So now I said this is alpha here. So if here it's alpha, and then let's check something here. And then let me draw this like this. I'll rub so that I can get space. And then here you are having what? Here you are having theta here. Do you see that you need to calculate the gradient of AB? You need to say, okay, the gradient of AB. What is the gradient of AB? Let's check. We calculated it. It's minus 1 over a 2. Now, what is the gradient of, let's just say it's the gradient of what? Of, here you are having a D here. Let's say the gradient of AD. So the gradient of AD, that's what you need to calculate first. Then after that, you will then determine the angle of inclination of these things. So this was just me trying to explain to you so that you can see what I'm doing. So now, this one, the gradient of AB, we already have it. It's this one which is going there. Now, we need the gradient of what? We need the gradient of AD. So now, the gradient of AD, you'll get it by what? By just saying 6, this is the 6 here, minus the 2, which is the one at D, divided by minus 3, and then minus 4. Just like this, and then on top there, no, let me just use a calculator to save time. This is 6 minus 2 divided by minus 3 plus a 4. So it means here you'll just have what? You'll just have a 4. So it means the gradient of what? Of AD is just a 4. Now let's determine the angle of inclination of what? Of this. Let's start maybe with, okay, let's start with the one for AB. So I'll say tan, because here I said this is alpha, ne? Okay, it's fine. Let me say tan alpha is equals to, because of where tan alpha is positioned, I'll say this is minus 1 over 2, and then I'll say alpha, and then I'll say second function. Say second function here, tan negative 1 over a 2. Negative 1 over a 2. You'll see that here you will get negative 26.56. Now, this value, this one, it's for here. Yeah. Let me wrap this M. It's no longer important now. This value which I got here, which is saying a negative, it's the value of here. It's 26.56. But in your normal workings, if you're to get the angle of inclination, you're supposed to come here and add 180. And then you'll get what? Plus 180. This is 153.43, which this value is this one here. Is this one on the side here? 153.43. This value is here on the other on the other side here. So it's here 153.43. The 26 is here. 26.56. So this is what the negative sign means. It just means it's on this side, yeah, and then the positive one will be here. So that's the thing. So now this is of no use. Then now I got the the value of here, because here check something now. It means if I got negative 26, it means 26 is here, 0.56. The thing which I'm in need of, this one, it's here. And then I need to find this. Here it's alpha here. No, it's theta, sorry, it's theta. So how do you determine theta? Theta, you just find it by saying tan theta, it's given by the gradient of what? It's given by this gradient, -1/2. So now, let's calculate. No, it's not given by -1/2. It's given by 4. So it will say shift tan 4. This will give us 75. You see that? Now this 75 is this one. 75. If I'd received a negative, it was going to come here. But here I got what? A positive. So it's fine. Eh? So now it means here, let me write what? 75. Do you see that now you just have to do sum of angles of a triangle to get this value here. So we'll just say DAB is equals to 180 minus 75 minus 26.56, which this thing just gives us what? Oh, 75.9 what? 96.96. So it will just say 180 minus 75.96 minus 26.56. So you just get 77.48. So it means this angle here, it's 77.48. Yeah, this is the thing. So it means this whole angle here, it's 77.48. This now proves, do you still remember there's a person who asked me a question there who said, why did I use DB to prove that DB and BC to prove that this is not a right angled triangle? Do you see that also this thing confirms it? This is a parallelogram. So if this was a 90, I'd found that this is a 90 degree. It means even now I was supposed to find that this angle here is a 90 degree, so that this thing can either be a rectangle or a square. So it means my calculations here were correct. So that's just how you can also prove certain calculations. So let me check if you've got any questions. Okay, who's this? A VVM, ne? What happened here? They are saying that determine the value of what? Determine the value of what? Of this angle which is here. And then if you're to check, this is D here, and then this is B here, ne? And then this is A here. So now, just only what? Because this question, I don't think there's any other question other than this one. Let us remove this. Let us remove this. Let us remove this. Let us remove this. No, and also this line, which is here. Yeah. Also this line, which is here, and also this. So if you are to check something here, do you see that now I'm just left with something like a triangle? So if I'm left with a triangle now, analytical geometry is just straight lines joining each other. It's just a lot of straight lines joining each other. So here, that's why I first said let us determine what? Let us determine the let us determine the gradient of what? Of AB. And then the gradient of AB I found it to be -1/2. And then what is the gradient of AD? The gradient of AD I found it to be what? To be a 4. Now, you were taught what angle of inclination and how to determine it. So now here we had to first determine the angle of inclination. Now, determining the angle of inclination, I found that this angle which is here, it's 26.56, which is this. And then this angle here, which is theta, I found it to be 70 what? To be 75.9 what? 0.96, which now it is what? It's like you already have two angles of a triangle, 26 point something. Now the sum of angles of a triangle say that they add up to 180. So it's just a matter of saying 180 minus this 75 minus 26, and then you're done. I hope you understood, which you'll get 77.48. So that's how you do what? You do something like that. Okay, fixing the country. If you got that one right, then it's fine. I hope VVM you got, you understood what I did there. If he or she can just comment or she's fine, then we can move on. Okay, as she's still maybe typing, or he's typing. Okay, no, it's not a problem then. Then let's move on to the next question. The next question. Okay. The next question is saying that, okay, the distance, this is question 4. The distance between what? Between A, this is -6, -5, and what? And B, which is 2, and X is what? Is 10 units. Now they say the distance between A and B is 10 units. Now they say determine what? Determine the value of what? Of X. So now here I feel like they've made it what? To be easier by telling you this, by telling you that the distance there is what? By telling you that the distance is a 10. So once you get this, it means you need to use the distance formula. So using the distance formula, you'll say that, okay, AB, let's say, in most cases, it says squared is equals to, and then you'll have x at B minus x at A then squared plus y at b minus y at a squared. Then if it's like this now, they gave you that the distance is 10. So just come and place a 10 here. And then where there is x at b is just a 2 minus x at a is just a minus 6. And then squared plus y at b. What is y at b? Y at b is just an x minus y at a is just a minus 6. This is squared. So it means here, this is squared. This will just give you 100. And then 2 minus what? 2 actually plus a 6. It will just be an 8, which will give you 64. Plus, here you've got x plus a 6. X plus a 6 is the same as you having x squared plus, this is plus, né? This will give you 12x plus 36. Yeah, this is just after simplifying everything. Now, here you'll say 100 minus 60 what? 64. You get what? You get 36. Is equals to x squared plus a 12x plus 36. Now 36 and 36 will go out. Then you'll be left with what? You'll be left with x squared plus a 12. Remove x as a common factor. Okay, let me not skip steps. You have x squared plus 12x is equals to a 0. Now, remove x as a common factor, which would say x plus, what do you call this thing? By 12 here, equals to a 0. So it means x is equals to a 0 or x is equals to minus 12. So it means your value of x here, I'm sure it will be what? It's either a 12 or it's a 0. So you should get something like that. I hope you understood there. For which one? It's -5, not 6. Y at A. This is 2. And then minus 6. And then x. Oh, minus 5 here. So this is 25 here. And then this is 10 here. This is 10 here. Okay, this is 5. This is 10. This is 30 what? 36 is equals to x squared plus 10x. Thank you for identifying that mistake. And then what is this? 36 minus 25. It means you've got x squared plus 10x and then minus 11 equals to a 0. Okay. It means I'll have negative 10 plus the square root of 10 squared minus 4a. What is a? A is just a 1. C is just a minus 11 divided by 2. This will just give me x minus a 1. Then x what? And then x plus 11 equals to a 0. So x is equals to a 1 or x is equals to minus 11. So you're supposed to get these two things. I hope now I did not make a mistake. Okay, it will just depend. For fixing the counter, it will just depend on the question itself. So I can't say no or yes. So is it possible to use the same formula to get both x and y if y was not given, for instance? If y was not given, no, we were going to be in short of a variable there. So it means we were still going to have an unknown at the end. So let me say, for an example, if I'm understanding what you're saying, it means here I'll be having a y here. So let's check wherever there is what? There is 2 and place a y. Do you see that here I was going to have a y? So I will still be having x and y on the what? On the what? On the question, which no, it won't be possible. Unless if they've given us an additional statement to this. Yes, I would say it will make sense. But other than that, no, it won't. It won't work. Okay. Let me check. I did it again. Phone calls, I think I re-explained it again now. Yeah, to Edwin is correct. Yeah, also Sfiso, that's correct. Okay. I hope you understood this one. And then here you've got 4.2. Now, 4.2 is saying the equation of a straight line y is equals to px plus 6. Okay, is here is supposed to be is. The equation of a straight line is y is equals to this. Then they say determine what? Determine the value of p in what? Yeah, in each of the following. In each of the following. Now, 4.2.1 says pass through the point, passes through points, not points, point B, which says -1, -4. So if we are to check, here is just px plus 6. So y is px plus 6. So just substitute these values. So you have -4 is equals to p into -1 plus 6. Now p will just give you -4, say negative, my memory is full here. Okay, you'll have -4 and then -6, just give you -10. Okay, let me keep this negative here. This will give you -10. It just means p will just be a 10. So in this case, p is a 10. Now let's go to 4.2.2. They say is perpendicular to the line. Okay, is perpendicular to line. It's perpendicular to line 2y plus x is equals to a 4. Okay. If they are to say that determine the value of p here, when this equation, which is here, is perpendicular to this one. So it just means here, rewrite this in this format of y is equals to mx plus c. So it means you will have 2y is equals to, no, like 2y plus x is equals to a 4. So make y the subject of the formula to be y is equals to negative x, and then divided by 2, and then plus a 2 here. So if you are to check here, the value which is here is 1 over 2, negative 1 over 2. If this thing, they are saying that they are perpendicular to each other, it just means the value of p is just a 2. Because it means the gradient of this thing, let me say this is the gradient of y. Let's just say this graph is called y, and then that one is the gradient of equation p. Let's just call this to be equation p. So because they're saying they are perpendicular, it means they are, when you multiply them, they're supposed to give you a negative. Here we got a negative 1 here. Negative 1, your negative 1 over 2 multiplied by mp equals to negative 1. Now solve for what? For mp. So solving for mp, you'll just get what? 2 multiplied by negative 1, just be a 2, divided by negative 1, just give you a 2, which is what? Which is just this. So I hope, so here I'll say, therefore, p is equals to a 2. Now, the next question says, is parallel to the x-axis. 4.2.3, okay, is parallel to the x. It's parallel to the x-axis. So check something, né? If they say determine the value of what? Of p. Here, when this equation is parallel to the x-axis. Okay. This, né? If something is said to be parallel to the x-axis, let's say that you are having what? Okay, let's say you are having a graph which is saying, maybe the graph is saying something like this. Né? If this graph is saying like this, let's say that the graph, Pella, don't forget that y, when the graph says a graph is just the values of y. Because look at this thing here. Look at this. It's saying y is equals to what? Y is equals to px plus 6. So if we are to say that it's parallel to the x-axis, it means the only values which are there on the what, on this graph will only be the y values. It means this graph now will just be what? Y is equals to a 6. So if it is just y is equals to a 6, this tells us that p is equals to a 0. Is equals to a 0 because, like, now I'm just coming from explaining to you that it's the same when they say y is equals to px plus 6. It's the values of y. So now, if they are to say that it's parallel to the x-axis, parallel means it won't touch the x-axis. So if it won't touch the x-axis, it just means it doesn't have the x-axis. That's the thing. It doesn't have x values. That's what it means. So that's why here I just wrote what? I just wrote a 0. So I hope you understood what I did. No, sir, it means all values are associated with only y value. Okay, Edwin. Okay, explain what you just say. Okay, I understand what you're saying. Ne? You are saying it means all x values are associated with only one y value. Okay, tell me now, ne? How would you associate the x values whereas you don't have it? because there now you'll only be having one what? You'll only be having one thing, which is this. Then show me the what? The X value there, which you are referring to. 4.2.2. 4.2.2, they're saying is perpendicular to the line what? Is perpendicular to the line 2y plus x is equals to what? Is equals to a 4. Okay, yeah. First rewrite this thing to be in standard form. Standard form is y is equals to mx plus c. If it's saying what? Y is equals to mx plus c, now you'll be able to know what is the gradient of the what? Of the graph. So I just placed this to be in standard form of what? Of y is equals to mx plus c. So which gave me what? Which gave me a gradient of negative 1 over a 2. From there on, if they mentioned this word, it just means the gradient. It just means when you multiply the gradient of this equation and this equation, they are supposed to give you a negative what? A negative 1. So that's why here I just substituted the what? The gradient of y, which is just this one. I said let's make it to be y, and then the gradient of mp, which is just what? The gradient of p, which is just this equation, to be what? To be an unknown, and then equate it to a negative 1, and then just solve for gradient of p, and then you get a 2. I hope that one you get it. See Lyle. To Oma. Here when I teach here, I only teach maths. So menstruation part, this is when we are doing maybe what? One-on-one sessions. Yeah, I can be able to explain that to you. No problem. So now, I think from the questions which I had, I think I did 2 question papers here. Grade 10, I started with grade 10. And then this was grade what? Grade 11 and 12 stuff. So now, if you've got any questions based on what we did today, you can just request and ask, or you can comment or say whatever you want to say, but at least it should not be what? Violent to other people. So you can request and ask. You can, you can request, it's fine. No, I don't teach science here. Science I do one-on-one. That one requires a lot of reasoning here. It's unlike maths. So you can request, it's fine. Wungiwe, yes, how are you? Hi to you too, Wungiwe. Four, 2, 3. Okay. For 4, 2, 3, nah? Guys. Okay. For 4, 2, 3, I said, let's assume that this graph of y is equals to px. It's just a normal graph. Let's say it's a graph like this. It's cutting where? It's saying it's cutting at 6. Let's say the graph is like this. It cuts at 6. So if it cuts at 6, and then they ask you now, determine the what? Determine what do you call this? Determine the value of p if this equation is parallel to the x-axis. Now I'm going to draw a graph, which is just like this. So if I'm to draw a graph which is just like this, ne? It's the same what? It's the same, what do you call this thing? It's the graph which is parallel to what? Let's say is parallel to the x-axis. This graph is parallel to the x-axis. The new graph which is drawn, it's like this. But it's having what? It's supposed to contain what? They're saying it's supposed to contain p within what? Within its equation. So if it's supposed to contain p, it means now the very same equation where now here you are having a 6. Now because it's parallel to the x-axis, it means that the only value which you are having now, it will only be a 6. And then the value of what? Of x which you'll be having, it will just be a 0. Because the thing which, it will just be a 0 because if you have to just check the graph itself, are you seeing the value of what? Are you seeing the values of x? Okay, let me do this. Let's say that this is the first graph, and then you're also having the what? A second graph like this, which this graph now, let's say that it's here within the x-axis, or even it's not a second graph, it's still the same graph, which they're saying that it's parallel to the x-axis. When I'm referring to the second graph, I'm just referring to this x-axis, which is just this. So that's why we are saying P is equals to 0. So it can just be that one graph, which is this one, and then be parallel to the x-axis, which the x-axis will just be this. In this x-axis, it just means the value of P will just be a 0. So that's what I'm talking about. All points on that straight line are having y as 6 and different x values. Okay, to Edwin, give me one value of x which is there. Because for this one, it's maybe something like this. Maybe it will be a 6, maybe, and maybe a 1. 6 and something. But now, they are talking about, what you are talking about, Edwin, I do understand it. But now, we are talking about the gradient. We are talking about the gradient part. That's why I'm saying it's a 0. This which you're saying, yes, I do understand it, can be 6 and 1. It can be a 1 and a 6. It can be what, and what. I do understand that. But now we are referring to the part of the gradient now. Gradient formula. Yeah. And then, yeah, you see, what are you going to place on the x values? You're going to place maybe a value which is going to be 2 minus a 2. And then you get a 0. And then that's it. You get a gradient of 0. We don't have a value of x. Change in y divided by x. Then what will you place on your values of x? So change in y is 0. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Mos. Because check where p is, Mos. P is a gradient. So that's why I'm asking you, what are you going to place on the values of x when you're dividing the what? Go and check it in, this what? Let me check. Go and check question paper, mathematics paper 2 of grade 11, 2015. This one, the question 4, I got it from it. It's 2015 paper 2, grade 11. So change in x can be any number, hence 0. Any number is, yeah, you see, now you're answering yourself now. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Unless if anyone has any other question, I think for today I'll stop there. That was the last question. I'm sure that's why it was having so many people had so many questions based on it. I was explaining why gradient is a zero. I was explaining. Man, Edwin, we are going back and forth most. Okay, what is P there? If you are saying you're explaining the gradient, what is P there on that equation? It is not because there are no. Here are the x values. P is 0, not because there are no x values. Okay, yes, that's fine. That's correct. It's just that the values of what? Of x, which I'm going to have, they're just going to give me a 0. So that's why the P is just going to be a 0. Okay, maybe just that maybe we had different explanations to this one. But what you're saying is, it was what I was referring to. Because there you're going to have an x what? X values which are more like the same. So they are going to say, maybe let's say you're having a 2 and a 2. So it will just say 2 minus a 2 and gives you a 0. I don't know if you are still having a question or if there's anyone who is having a question. Why values are going to give us a 0? No, man, we are going back and forth, man. Let's just stop. Because why values are going to give us a 0? Why values? Yeah. No, man, let me I rest my case on this one. I think I've explained enough on this one. I rest my case on this one. Let me say to Edwin, okay, you're correct in your own what understanding. I'm also correct on my own understanding, because I will debate the whole night here. So I can't say yours is wrong. I won't say that mine is wrong. Or maybe I'm wrong. I'll admit that I'm wrong. You see now? That's what I'm saying. Like, if I'm wrong, okay, I'm wrong. If I'm correct, okay, I'm correct. Guys, do you have any other questions? Because just that it's like it's only me and Edwin here. What? We're talking back and forth here. Do you guys have any questions based on this? Any questions? Any questions? Oh, come on, guys. You don't have any questions. You're going to write in like 3 weeks and you don't have any question. Your boss is must. Yeah, that one is correct. What you're saying is correct, man. That's why I'm saying, well, okay, in these instances, let me agree. Okay, I'm wrong. Let me agree. I'm wrong. I am what? But just go and read the question. Go and read it. Go and read it. Go and read the question. I stand to be corrected. Otherwise, great content. Nah, thank you, man. How, guys? You don't have questions? If you don't have questions, no, I think I rest my case. I rest my case. I think we'll meet on Friday, guys. We'll meet on Friday. We will meet on Friday. If you guys you don't have questions, we will meet on Friday. We will meet on Friday. If they said maybe perpendicular to the x-axis, if maybe they said nah, no problem. I do understand, man. That's what I'm saying. I do stand to be corrected, man.
Your people can finally manage their processes without having to switch through a million tabs. With Monday.com, you can connect your work app.
Companies of all sizes use BigQuery to uncover new insights from their data, like cost savings, operational efficiencies, and new ways to grow revenue. BigQuery is Google Cloud's serverless, highly scalable cloud data warehouse at the core of Google's unified data cloud. BigQuery saves you time on reporting by making data easily accessible for self-service analytics with built-in business intelligence tools. Get started today with the BigQuery Sandbox or get a 300...
Hey yo, this is your boy Mentor 541, back with another exclusive taste. Private school, piano mix, it's the Kelvin vibes, you already know the level.
Khawula sengiyagcwala angisakhona ukuzibamba isikhwele siyangibulala bakufuna phansi mina ngizimisele ngawe muhlakazi nzisi akayifaki namaskara Yes, Momondi and Jabantu. Mushemtano Muntu. Amuhlakazi nzisi. Mushemtano Muntu. Amuhlemtano Muntu. Mushemtano Muntu. Muhle. Mushemtano Muntu. Lomdana muhle. Ngisaba nokumbeka emehlweni. lo mntana muhle ngisaba nokumbeka emehlweni muhle mangimbona kuphela ulwazi ngiswela namazwi okumtshela the way ngizizwa ngakhona ubukhona bakho uyanganelisa awe ma ngoba muhle mntana womuntu muhle muhle ngisaba nokubheka emehlweni mangimbona kuphela ulwazi ngiswela namazwi okumtshela the way ngizizwa ngakhona siyambulala isikwele sithandwa ngelo ngqomi ngifuna uba ngowakho ngoba umuhle ngisaba nokumbeka emehlweni
Premier League is crazy.
The chase, the attack, the wild struggle for survival.
Premier League is the biggest league. They've got some really good players. It's going to be good.
The hype is real. The Premier League, live it all.
Abaningi ababonanga lo nyaka ngijabula mawusaphila ayinonke zami ngifatela umacala ngintshela nisaphila ithuba lisekhona mtshela uyamfrustana ngicela sixolele namaphutha ayayenzeka phutha layenze ngicela sixolela namaphutha abaningi ababonanga lo nyaka ngijabula mawusaphila ayinonke zami ngifatela umacala ngintshela